Hi guys, it is Aoife from Fred We See Died Laughing and I'm here with my weekly wrap up. I got 3 books read this week. A few of them were quite short, so this is probably going to be a short-ish wrap up. So I will also just tell you what I'm currently reading as well. So the first book I got read this week was The Princess Saves Herself in This One by Amanda Lovelace. This is a poetry collection and it is actually probably one of the only poetry collections I own, apart from stuff that I had to learn in school that I still have. And like I always enjoyed poetry in school and like, you know, kind of dissecting poetry and the teacher like kind of making us think about different things, but I'm not someone who like is really proficient in poetry, or I do like to write it now and again myself as well, even though I actually don't read a lot of it, but it's something I would like to get into more. But this one just really like, I kept seeing kind of bits and pieces from this I think on Twitter and stuff, and other things that Amanda Lovelace has written on Twitter, and she has a few other books as well as this one out, but this is I think her first collection, and I just was really intrigued by it and I did want to pick it up, and I did a good few months ago, and I eventually picked it up and read it from cover to cover. I had flicked through it and read a few poems, but this time I read it cover to cover and I really enjoyed it. I just really liked the fact how honest and brutal it is at times. There are obviously trigger warnings in this for things like sexual assault, just like bad home life, self-abuse, that kind of thing, and it can be kind of tough to read some of the poems because they are very honest and very raw, but there's other ones that are just so beautiful, things about love, loving yourself, just self-growth, stuff like that as well, that I really enjoyed. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, but because this is a poetry collection, I don't read a lot of poetry, I don't really know yet, kind of, because I haven't read a whole lot of poetry. I'm not sure if my ratings could change eventually if I read more of it, but for now I think I just really enjoyed this one, so I did give it a 5 out of 5 star rating on Goodreads. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. If people were kind of thinking about picking up, I would say just go for it. If you don't like it, you can pass it on to someone else. It is kind of more that modern poetry, that it doesn't, I don't think it really has kind of a set of rules or anything like that. It's a lot more free flowing than kind of traditional poetry, but in saying that, I think it works really well for the kind of stuff that Amanda Lovelace is talking about. So yeah, would very much recommend. The next book I read was a short book on NetGalley that I got from NetGalley so long ago, like when I first got a NetGalley account, and I just haven't read it yet and I don't really know why, and it's called Dogtology by Lazarus, and it's basically this kind of jokey fun book about people who love dogs and the religion of dog loving called Dogtology, and it's just kind of a quirky comedic book basically about how crazy dog lovers are and the crazy things we do with our dogs, and you know, people who are dogtologists, the kind of the commandments they serve under, and the people who are dogtologists but might be like, you know, reluctant dogtologists, people who don't realise they are dogtologists but they are. I did enjoy this. I thought it was quite funny. The start of it really kind of got to me. I really enjoyed it and I thought it gave me a few laughs, a few laugh out loud moments. I do think it's about like 190 pages. I think it could have been shorter, considering it is a very like, it is a jokey book about love, like being a dog lover. I don't think it needed to be quite so long. Like there were times where I was just kind of like, oh god, like another chapter, like what else can he be talking about? And it is quite, I think, while obviously like being a dog lover and being a dog owner is something that is quite general worldwide, I think some of the things that he was talking about were very American based, I guess, and like things like, you know, fire hydrants and stuff, and dogs loving fire hydrants, but like there are no fire hydrants more or less in like Ireland or the UK. Like that's just not really a thing I think that we have on our streets, so stuff like that would be very like American, and not so much more for the rest of the world. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars just because like it was funny, but it wasn't amazing. It was just something that I just needed something kind of shortish to pick up before I went on holiday, and I decided just to pick that one up. And the last book I've completed this week was The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is the second book in the Cruel Prince trilogy. I was really highly anticipating this book this year, and I'm so glad I finally have it and I got to read it, and I really enjoyed this one. This is obviously telling the story of Jude, who when she was younger, a fairy came to her house, killed her mum and dad, and took her sister and her half-sister, who was also part fae, and this fairy's daughter, back to kind of the elf kingdom called Elfhame, and she grew up basically in this elvish kingdom, and she's learned that being immortal in an elvish world is very dangerous, and this is kind of a very like politically schemy, violent, magical, beautiful place that is both beautiful and horrible at the same time, and good and evil at the same time, and you just really do not know where to turn when you're reading this book. book. So this follows on from events in The Cruel Prince that I cannot really talk about because it would be massive spoilers, and because the end of The Cruel Prince, just so much stuff happens that it's just so insane, and this is kind of the follow-up, and we're seeing how everyone is dealing with what happened at the end of that book. So Jude is just continuing on being a mortal in a fairy world, and her position is still really just as shaky as always, and she's still in a lot of danger all the time. But she's very confident, she's very vicious at times. She knows how to take care of herself, she knows how to take care of others, and it's just really intriguing to watch her grow and watch her kind of, you know, she gets kind of shaken up and shaken down in all sorts of different ways in this book. And the end of this book, like, things happen at the end of this book that I was just like, I was cheering for, and then I think like all my hopes were dashed. Like I was cheering for one thing and one page, and the next page all my hopes would be dashed, and it was just such a roller coaster. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as The Cruel Prince. I don't think I was as hooked on it, but it's definitely one I'll probably reread by the end of the year, probably. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it, and I did, like, yeah, on a reread, like, because I obviously was on holiday when I was reading this, I wonder if I read it in one go whether I would be more like interested or more invested, because obviously I was kind of reading it in bits and pieces while I was in Iceland, which was really nice, but obviously I was on holiday and I was distracted by everything else around me, so I wonder if I read this without those distractions whether maybe I would like it more. I don't know, we will see. I might try and reread it by the end of the year or before the last book comes out, which I think is The Queen of Nothing. So yeah, we will see. And the book I'm currently reading is a Danish thriller called The Chestnut Man by Søren Sveistrup, which I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. But this is a very gruesome kind of crime thriller. I'm only about 20% through, 25% through, as I just didn't get that much reading done the last couple of days. But I am enjoying it. But it is basically about this this detective in the Danish police, I guess, and the homicide department, and she ends up coming across this case. This woman has been murdered, and basically one of her arms has been amputated, and she's kind of been like displayed in the playground in her back garden, and this like little doll made of chestnuts is beside her, and it seems to link back, for some reason it seems to link back to a disappearance of a politician's daughter the year before. But this politician's daughter was apparently murdered. Her body was never found, but someone admitted to murdering her and like cutting her up into pieces and stuff, so the body was never found, and they don't really know how these two things link up, why this girl's fingerprints would be on this chestnut doll, even like because she was apparently has died a year earlier, but then it also might link to a case in the 60s with these chestnut dolls as well, and with this like kind of mass murder thing that happened. And yeah, that's really all I know so far. It's quite interesting. As I said, it's very gruesome, it's quite detailed, right? Like I was kind of reading it at times, so I was like, oh, like, you know, but yeah, we will see how it goes. But I am quite interested in it. The author is the person who wrote the TV show The Killing, which I think was on Sky. Was it on Sky? So yeah, so far so good. We will see. I don't know. So that's everything I read this week. Please let me know what you guys have read. I would love to know if you guys have read any of the ones that I've read, and please leave a comment down below. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time.